There are two big problems with backpacks, and this pack solves both of them. It's my new favorite pack, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. Let's check it out. So this is the new Coqua 40 pack from Durst & Gear. It's an ultralight pack that weighs under 2 pounds, and even if ultralight's not your thing, hear me out for a minute, because this pack is not like other ultralight packs. You see, the problem with ultralight packs is that when you load them, they tend to round out into big cylinders that not only pull the shoulder straps outward away from your back, but create this small contact point that is less than comfortable. This happens because most ultralight packs don't really have frames like we think of when we talk about a framed pack. Instead, they have just 2 stays that are basically just straight aluminum bars. They do a fine job of transferring weight to the hips, but they do nothing to keep the pack from deforming. Traditional packs, on the other hand, have large rigid frames that keep the pack from deforming, but add considerable weight to the pack. Not to mention, traditional packs try to be everything all at once. They have tons of pockets, zippers, compartments, loops. It's almost like they just throw everything at it in hopes that you will think it's nice because it's got a lot of stuff. But in reality, all that stuff just makes the pack heavier than it needs to be. The Coqua 40 is bridging the gap through some really thoughtful design. So this is the frame from a more traditional pack. It's actually out of a hybrid pack because most traditional packs don't allow the frame to be removed, but it gives you an idea of how frames work in backpacks. If you notice, the frame not only has lateral support to transfer weight to the hips, but it also has horizontal rigidity to maintain the shape of the pack. And then here are some stays out of an ultralight pack. They are just 2 simple aluminum bars that still provide lateral support, but no horizontal structure. So when you load the pack, all you have is material between the 2 stays that provides 0 structure. Your pack basically takes whatever shape your gear is. And then this is the frame out of the Coqua 40. It has the lateral support that you need, but it also has a horizontal cross beam to keep the pack from rounding out into a cylinder. You'll also notice that the stays aren't just straight up and down because, well, your back isn't just straight up and down. So at the bottom, the bars come in close, both here and here, to make the contact with the small of your back, and then they spread out at the top to make good contact with your shoulders. Now, on a lot of ultralight packs, you can actually bend the stays to follow the ergonomic curve of your spine, but if you can bend it, then that means that your pack and the gear in your pack can potentially bend it back. The Coqua uses this 8mm hollow aluminum tubing that provides more strength for less weight and maintains the shape so that your gear isn't going to mess up any of the awesome features of its design. And something else that the Coqua has that a lot of ultralight packs don't are load lifters. Now, most of my life I've heard these described as magic straps because they can make that big of a difference with a loaded pack. The Coqua's load lifters are connected directly to the cross section of the frame to not only stabilize and bring the load in close to your back, but help lift the load off your shoulders and transfer it to your hips through the frame. It's an incredibly simple but well-designed system that really improves the suspension of this pack, in some ways kind of bridging the gap between ultralight and traditional. Now, I've used other packs to try to bridge the gap between ultralight and traditional packs, but they do it by just making the pack only slightly lighter, like a 3-pound pack instead of a 5-pound pack. But this pack isn't really trying to bridge the gap. It's a true ultralight pack that weighs in at 1 pound 13 ounces, putting it firmly in the ultralight category. It has a lot of the typical designs of an ultralight pack with a roll top closure, a Y-strap compression strap, 2 side water pockets, and a center mesh pocket. The pocket on the right's got a low cut to easily grab your water bottle, which is where most people are going to keep their water, and something I didn't really know if I was going to like or not ended up being really useful. It was the double pocket on the left. Now look, I'm still a nerd who uses convertible pants, mainly because I hate being hot, but anytime I take the legs off my pants, it's always a hassle to store them and often requires me taking out my pack to find a secure pocket to put them in. But with the Coqua, I was able to quickly and securely stash my pant legs with only a short break on the trail. The center mesh pocket, on the other hand, I found to be just a little bit small, especially considering that this is only a 40-liter pack. Typically with a pack like this, quick access stuff like rain gear and rain cover, first aid, and more go in the center mesh pocket, along with anything that just won't fit in the main compartment. I found the size of the stash pocket as well as the overall size of the pack really limits what you can bring. You have to have your kit pretty well dialed because there's no extra room for bulky or extra gear. So much so that I've got a trip in a couple weeks that I'm expecting to get fairly fairly cold, and this trip also requires a bear canister, and I'm already worried that the Coqua isn't going to cut it for the bulky cold weather gear and the bear canister, which means that I may have to leave my new favorite pack at home, which is a shame because the suspension design could potentially allow this pack to carry heavier loads than a typical ultralight pack, which would have made it a great pack for someone that wants to kind of ease into ultralight while they upgrade their gear. But the volume is going to hinder that for a lot of people. And then the last feature I want to talk about is both one of the best and the worst parts about this pack. The Coqua 40 is made of the relatively new Ultra 200 fabric. This fabric is sort of like a hybrid Dyneema and nylon. It's actually manufactured with some of the same components as Dyneema composite fabric, but it's 5 times stronger and 5 times more abrasion resistant and puncture resistant than Dyneema, which is great, but Ultra 200 only comes in grays and whites, and even though I really like this pack, the all gray and black color scheme just isn't very attractive to me, which is a shame because I really thought that Durston's previous pack offerings were really attractive packs. Personally, I would have liked it better in the white Ultra instead of the gray. I really like white and black packs, but I admit that that's getting pretty nitpicky. Which I also have to mention, the Coqua suffers from the same problem that all of Durston gear suffers from, and that is availability. You currently can't get this pack until January or February 2023, at which time supply may or may not stabilize. It all depends on how much demand there is for this pack and how many Durston has in production. Other than that, this is truly my favorite pack right now, and as long as I don't have other packs that need testing and review, you'll probably be seeing a lot more of it on this channel. Until then, please be sure to like, subscribe, and do all those other things, and as always, thanks for watching. And see there, you thought I hated Durston gear.